Well, for stroke survivors, ending rehab doesn't mean the end of the battle for quality of life.
KMBC 9's Brenda Washington, local and live in Mission right now with information you can use. Brenda, good morning.
Good morning, guys. You know, I've never had a stroke. There's no one in my family that has had one, but I've known people outside of my family who've had strokes, and believe me, it is a challenge just trying to pick up the pieces to rebuild your life after the hospital, after rehab. Well, this is where the American Stroke Association here in Mission fits in. It helps these people who are stroke survivors that we're looking at right here and more rebuild their lives, try to get in physical shape, try to get their speech back. And Patrick Ayers, who's the executive director, is with us. And I am just really impressed with these folks. I've been talking with them before we went on the air, and they're happy. They don't seem as depressed as I think I would probably be if I had a stroke.
Oh, yeah, they're great. It's you know, we got a great staff here, we got a great facilities here, but the stroke survivors themselves kind of boost each other's spirits up. And, you know, they can talk and say stuff to each other that I can never have because I've never lived with a stroke.
And this is not a medical facility, you're not a doctor's office. You say you're more of a wellness facility that fills that gap after rehab?
Yeah, we're the next step in the continuum of care of stroke. When someone has a stroke, they go to the hospital. After hospital is rehab, and then there's that kind of that what now, what next step. And that's where we fill the gap in improving lives of these stroke survivors.
Now, you see little miracles, you're telling me, every day, because you can't guarantee that someone will be 100% like they were before the stroke. But briefly, tell me about some of the miracles that you say you see every day.
Yes, we do see miracles every day. They could be something as dramatic as someone getting out of their wheelchair and walking 5 years after a stroke, to something as simple as moving your finger for the first time. You know, a lot of stroke survivors, their hands aren't working quite as well as they used to. And maybe something as moving their fingers, or maybe saying a sentence for the first time, or a paragraph. Just amazing to watch these things happen every day.
Now, you were also saying that you emphasize that a stroke survivor, you've got to work hard, you got to stick with it, and it's very important to have maybe family support or a friend supporting you.
Oh, yes, exactly. If a stroke survivor keeps on working on things, their lives are going to improve. If they don't, you know, they're just going to go downhill. But that support from their family, from their friends, and from fellow stroke survivors is the thing that really keeps them going.
Okay, we're going to have some more on the American Stroke Association here in Mission. I didn't even know that they were here. I'm learning some things myself this morning. But if you go to our website, KMBC.com, go to News Links, you can learn even more about this great facility here in Mission. And we'll be back in the 8 o'clock hour. Guys, back to you.
Sounds good, Brenda.
Very good.
Thank you much.
It's one of those things, we know so much more about strokes now than, say, we did 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
And they always say that endorphins increase in your body, making you happier. If you exercise, get active, help you heal.
That's what you hear. Be happy and heal. 7:51 in the morning. Here's a look if you're going to do some.
Well, according to the American Heart Association, stroke is the nation's third leading cause of death.
More than 6 million people, though, have survived a stroke, and getting back on your feet can be a lifelong journey. KMBC 9's Brenda Washington with some people this morning trying to make that job a little bit easier, at least. Brenda, good morning.
That's right. You know, Chris, after you have been in the hospital, after you've done rehab, what do you do after that? I mean, you're still facing the challenge of living with stroke. We are here at the American Stroke Foundation in Mission, and in the 7 o'clock hour, we showed you these folks in the fitness room. Well, now they're in speech class using normal conversation to try to perfect their speech. In fact, this is an organization, it's a wellness facility to help these stroke survivors meet the challenge of living with and surviving stroke. And that includes Denise Fry, who is my new friend this morning. She is a stroke survivor. In fact, 1 year ago today, Denise had her stroke at work, took away her speech, but look at her now. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. Yeah, I am.
She's doing okay. Now, tell me about how long it took you to get back on your feet.
It took me about 6 or 7 months. I was without speech at the time, and I had to work myself and until I got through with the rehab.
And then you said they sent you home with a packet of information, said practice this, and you didn't know what to do, and you came here, and it did wonders for you.
Yes. I spent with the first time here, and they were asking questions, and I couldn't answer anything, and I felt so stupid. The next time I came in, and I could remember them. It was incredible.
What would you have done, do you think, Denise, without this organization?
I hesitate to think because I'm sure that I wouldn't have gotten any more speech. I would have gotten clumsier. I think I wouldn't have been so overt about talking to strangers and driving. It's been a wonderful thing.
So you're just independent. You're kind of living on your own. You're driving, going to the grocery store, doing that type of thing. What is your advice for stroke survivors?
I think that everybody should just try at the hardest they can. Just continue trying, because 2 and 3 and 4 years into a stroke, they have seen an improvement. So I think we'll always do well.
Do you consider yourself a walking miracle at this time?
Yes, I think so.
Because you're always smiling.
Yeah.
She tells jokes, but we can't tell the jokes that she tells on the air. Once again, any other advice that you have for stroke survivors and their families?
I think that they need to be involved in this group. There's nobody like this group. It's such a unique thing, and it's just incredible.
Okay. Hey, listen, if you want to go learn more about the American Stroke Foundation here in Mission, go to our website, KMBC.com, click on news links. All the information that you'd ever want to learn about surviving stroke after rehab. Now, they don't guarantee that you'll be 100% like you were before, but they can sure help give you some peace of mind when it comes to living with the challenge of having a stroke. Guys, back to you.
All right, Brenda Washington there in Mission. I suspect luck plays a role into getting where that particular woman has gotten, but boy, hard work sure means a lot too.
Absolutely.
And the earlier you get treatment, if you think you're having a stroke or somebody is having a stroke, the earlier they get treatment, the better your odds are too. The quicker you get to somebody who can help you. 8:20 in the morning. And